Welcome back to the doll world, everyone. All right, so today I have got something fun for you, and this is a viewer request video. I think I'm gonna start a new series of like viewer request videos. You will notice that the dollhouse is completely empty, nary a doll in sight. And that is because I have received this request a few times from some of you. One of you even sent a second request. Thank you so much, by the way, because sometimes I need those constant reminders, otherwise I will just completely forget. But I have heard from a few of you that you would really like to see a tour of my dollhouse. Now, I have to admit, I was a little reticent at the beginning to do it because I was kind of like, it's just the American Girl dollhouse. I feel like a lot of us have seen this already before. There are other YouTubers out there who have it and have already done like the virtual walkthrough tour and stuff. So I was kind of like, what am I gonna bring to the table? I'm sure a lot of you, unlike me, are not consuming AG Tube all the time. So like I said, even though I have seen this virtual walkthrough on YouTube a dozen times, not everyone has. But I have received this request a few times now, so we are doing it. And I have a few little things that are, you know, partial to just my dollhouse, as you can see. So I thought now is the time, let's take a tour. Before we do that, of course, I do want to kind of talk for a little bit and give you guys a little bit of context of this dollhouse. Now, some of you may already know this, but my dollhouse here was a Facebook Marketplace find, and you know how I feel about those. I always have such good luck. I'm very fortunate in that respect. Now, if you are not aware, this behind me is the American Girl KidKraft Luxury Dollhouse. That was the full official title. It debuted, I want to say, in maybe like 2021, so about 4 years ago. And I remember the evening when I first saw it on the American Girl website and my jaw like almost dropped to the floor. I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And if I remember correctly, it was about like $600. I think the retail was like $595. But also real quick, just so you know, that is for just this piece right here. This piece right here is an additional add-on, and it's called the custom closet. So this is the luxury dollhouse. This is sold separately, custom closet. Now, this piece here was like $600, and I was literally like, I'm gonna buy this. I have to have this. It's adorable. And I wound up not pulling the trigger on it, and I decided to wait a little bit because I was kind of like, you know, I really don't need to be spending 600 bucks right now on something like this. But the thing that really made me apprehensive about it was the size. This thing, if it's not reading on camera, this thing is enormous. It is a behemoth of, you know, a play set for toys, you know? I was looking at I was really trying to ready myself for making this purchase. And so I got the tape measure out, and when I started to see just how, I was like, whoa, I might have to rethink this a little bit. And I would eventually then go to the American Girl Orlando store where they had it out on display. They had it on the floor. And I just walked in and I remember being like, oh my, this is, I don't think I have the space for this. And so it became one of those items that I wanted it so bad, but I never got it because I just didn't have the space for it. I tried every which way because I was like, okay, so it's $600, but I think you guys can relate. We're these doll collectors in the world of American Girl. I was like, okay, make it make sense, make it make sense. I'll wait for it to be on sale. There'll be like a 20% weekend. I've got rewards. Maybe they'll have like double points, triple points. You know, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make it work. It never worked out just because the size, the scale, it was just too much. I had nowhere to put this thing. So naturally, as you can imagine, one day I decide I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it. And so I get on the website, gone. It was sold out. They no longer sold it. I waited too long, and of course, immediately I started having FOMO. I so regretted not just buying it. Of course, then like, you know, I'm thinking in my head, I should have got it on sale. I should have used my rewards. I should have waited for those triple point weekends. I didn't have to build it right away. I could have like figured something out in the meantime, but I didn't. And so it became one of those things that I just kept searching for on the secondary market. Now I knew like eBay wasn't going to be the best place for it because the amount of money one would have to spend shipping this thing would have been just astronomical. So I knew I had to kind of scale it down and start looking at like Facebook Marketplace. I think I was trying to look at OfferUp. I'm not really sure if that's as big as it once was. Surprisingly, one thing I have found is that this thing is up on Facebook Marketplace, at least in my area. I see this thing listed at least once a month. And I can't help but think, I wonder if it's just because at the time people got excited and they bought it and now they're like, I need the space. This is overtaking my house. You know, they have to get it out. Because I do kind of notice that in their listing. They're like, you know, it's in great condition, adult doll collector. We just need to make room, you know? So I do think this is one of those purchases that I think people made. Maybe they were Christmas gifts or something. And then over time, they were just like, it's too big. I can't deal with this thing anymore. So if you're interested in it, like I said, just keep your eyes open, keep your fingers crossed. Like I said, I find this thing on Facebook Marketplace all the time, which of course is where I found it. I was laying on my couch one night, just had the TV was on in the background. I was scrolling my phone, and I just put in, American Girl Dollhouse, and boom, this thing popped up, and I couldn't believe it. And they only wanted $200 for it. Like I said, this thing retailed for $600. So I was like, wow, third of the price. That is awesome. And I was looking at their pictures and they were like, it's from an adult doll collector. It was well taken care of. We just don't have the space, as it always goes. And I was very, very interested. I was like, I'm gonna make this work because I really want to do this. So I messaged the seller and I was like, hey, I asked the general questions I always ask and everything looked good to me. I was like, let's make this work. They were about like 50 minutes away from me. Everybody is always like in the Glendale area, I've noticed, where here in Arizona when I'm looking at American Girl stuff on Facebook Marketplace. But so I was like, okay, I'm gonna clean out my car. I have a big, SUV type vehicle and I'm gonna drive it up there and pick this up. So I go, and when I got there, the guy had it set up in their garage, which already I was kind of like, uh-oh, all your pictures showed it was inside. I don't want something that's been rotting outside in the Arizona sun for a long while. But I did a thorough inspection and it looked pretty good. Just needed a little bit of like dusting and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I can make this work. And he had like all the stuff for it, all the pieces, all the parts, all the little, I'm gonna show you in a bit. We're gonna look, there's a few little pieces of furniture that came with it. The only thing it didn't have was, do you see this string of lights right there? The original dollhouse came with their own lights, but he couldn't find them. Obviously, we'll go into this more later. I have outfitted my own. Like I said, we're gonna do a deep dive in this in a second, but I was very excited. The odd thing was, however, was that I noticed there were certain elements of the dollhouse where he had duplicates. Do you see this long stretch? This is right here. This is one long piece of wood. And of course, it's got the illustrations on it to give it the impression that it's like a kitchen here and a living room there. That's just one solid plank of wood. He had doubles of that. He also had a duplicate of this one here. And you can't see it, but there is like a little gravelly like driveway right there. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why does he have duplicates? I didn't ask, I didn't pry, because he was just throwing them in for free. And I was like, cool, because I noticed there were definitely some that were more worse for wear than the others. I think what happened is this, and I do see this a lot on other YouTube videos where people have purchased this and they're like, build this with me, I feel like they probably used a power drill to put this together. And you guys, if you don't have this yet, and if you're gonna buy one that's not built, please don't use a power drill to put it together. It says right there in black and white in the instructions, do not use a power drill, use a hand screwdriver. Is it a pain in the butt? Absolutely. But you guys, this thing, despite its bulk, despite its price tag, it's pretty fragile. And I feel like if you're gonna use a power drill on this thing, you are gonna strip everything out of it. It's not gonna come together. You're gonna be giving yourself a big headache. I suspect what happened was they probably opened this on Christmas morning and Dad got his power drill out and started putting it together and immediately started stripping everything. And so with so many pieces stripped, I can imagine the planks weren't putting together. It was a big mess. I'll bet they probably called American Girl and explained the situation, and American Girl sent them out replacement, boards. I'm guessing that's what happened because, like I said, some were more worse for wear. he included the boards that were all stripped, and it looked like maybe a nail had been put through and it kind of cracked the wood, and so it wasn't going to fit together. It was a mess. But what's nice though is that, like I said, it looks like this, right? And on the flip side, there is like an exterior illustration as to like what the house would look like on the outside with bushes and a window and like a lounger and stuff like that. So I wound up keeping them. I have them covered out in my garage. So if I ever need to do like for a photo shoot or a video, I want to do a scene with like the back of this house, I don't have to rotate this whole thing around because that's virtually impossible in my setup. I can just go out to my garage and get that board and use the backdrop. So it was a win for me for sure. But yeah, that's what I think happened. So yeah, if you have your eyes on this and you find one that's not built, please just take the time. It's a lot of work, but just use a hand screwdriver. It's gonna it's gonna take you a couple days more than likely to put this thing together, but it's gonna be worth it. You don't want to destroy it. But anyways, I got this thing. We did have to break it down into several parts to get it into my car, but I drove it home. I cleaned it up. It cleaned up like a dream. It was so nice. The only thing that was I was like a little disappointed when I got home was I didn't realize that. So you can see we got some panels here. There's panels in the bathroom and there's panels here. They were a little stinky when I got home and I was like, oh, well, that sucks. But then I was thinking, well, I take napkins and pocket squares and small linens to the dry cleaner all the time. I'm sure they could probably do something with this. So I took them to my dry cleaner, picked them up the next day, good as new. They were actually more vibrant and brighter. They smelled fresh and clean. I was so happy. So at the end of the day, once I got this here, all cleaned up and outfitted, ready to go, it was like good as new. And like I said, I only paid 200 bucks for it. So I had this sitting here for a good long while. I decided during the holidays, because I found, if we all know, Ross, for whatever reason, was selling the custom closet. And I was like, well, I gotta get that. So I found that, and so this piece here is brand new. I got it brand new in the box. I got to build it, same thing. It builds almost exactly the same as this. Use a hand screwdriver, you're gonna be better off. But, and we're gonna talk about it in detail because this is like where it's supposed to go. You'll see there is a little door here and it's supposed to kind of match with this bedroom here. It doesn't quite line up right, which is disappointing. So the custom closet, though it is a nice addition to the dollhouse, it is by no means necessary. And like I said, I do find there are some problematic areas where it doesn't match, doesn't line up very well. So if you can't get that and you're killing yourselves, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. This is the main piece. This is the one that is, it's the one to own, right? Now, as I mentioned, I was hemming and hawing for the longest time because I was like, where am I going to put it? I definitely had to clean out this room in order to make this, to get this to fit in here. And I also figured, if I'm going to put in the time, money, and effort to have this thing, I gotta get some good use out of it. And that's when I decided it was going to be like the main focal point or a backdrop for videos on my YouTube channel, as you can see here. So I thought what I would do, because if you've been watching my channel for a while, the format has changed a little bit. In the past, the video would just be my hands and it would be a close-up of whatever we were unboxing that day. And the idea when it came to finally having the dollhouse was that if I was gonna look at an outfit, I was gonna unbox in like the bedroom. I didn't have the closet yet at that time. And if we were gonna be looking at like a food set, we would use the kitchen as the backdrop. And we would kind of like move around the house, a different backdrop for every video, depending on what I was unboxing. But then I really didn't do too many videos with that before I finally hit 1,000 subscribers. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a face reveal. And that changed everything because you guys appreciate these style videos much more than just a close-up of my hands. And so then I was like, okay, well now I'm just gonna stand in front of my dollhouse and the dollhouse will be the big backdrop and I can, change out the dolls and create some visual interest for, the video and all that kind of stuff. And the first video I did, I cringe now when I look at it because I was still learning how to get on camera and light my room and light me and stuff. I think I'm like standing like way too close to the camera in that video. And I thought the lights were it was just kind of like bleaching everything out and my house wasn't lit and stuff. So I knew I wanted to kind of address that situation. I used to watch this guy on YouTube who did doll unboxings. And he doesn't make videos anymore, which is unfortunate. He kind of just like went away and ended his channel. But he did this video where he had the Rainbow High dollhouse and he outfitted it with all these lighting features. He like put in like chandeliers and little hall lights. He put 2 little lights at the entryway of the door. It was so cute, really inventive. I loved it. And after he did that video, he kind of moved it into his background, but he would always have it lit behind him. And I loved how that looked. And so I was kind of thinking, I was like, I want to do that with my American Girl dollhouse. I want to outfit it with some lighting, give it some more visual interest, kind of make it pop. And that's kind of what I did. Now, I think it looks pretty good. I do think when we move in closer and you're going to kind of see a little bit more of the details, you're going to see more rough edges. I kind of did this quickly. I still want to kind of address it one day and really do this in a more permanent fashion and getting these like lights outfitted in the dollhouse and so forth. But I knew I had a lot of requests for this video, so I decided, you know what, let's just make it. We can always do another video later if I make this a little bit more polished. So I think that's all I have to say about, you know, this dollhouse, how I got it and how I lit it and stuff. I think now it's time to take you guys for a virtual tour of my American Girl dollhouse. All right, real quick, actually, before we move in, I do want to mention because the lighting isn't going to be perfect in certain areas of the house. Though I have this top part lit the way I like it because it shows more in my videos, this first floor here is pretty dark. It doesn't show as much in my videos. I usually have some dolls lined up here, but that is the plan in the future. I do want to get this place lit up a little bit more. But I guess we'll start at the beginning. Let's start at the front door. So here we've got this really cute, like kind of like a driveway setup here. Now you can see this plant here. It's like a little planter with like felt plants. I thought felt was kind of a weird choice, but oh, whatever, it is what it is. It is removable, so it's nice. But as you can see, we've got this wood floor here that's painted to look like kind of like a little gravelly, you know, drive up or walk up. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's pebble stone. But, and then we've got some green grass, we've got some foliage here, and then this is where I park another of my fabulous Facebook Marketplace finds, and this is the little cruiser. I am so glad I got this cruiser in red because it's no longer available. I think they only have the pink right now. I think the red is so iconic. And I got this for like 80 bucks, and it works perfectly. So I'm going to move that back here. But as you can see, we've got the front door, but just before coming in, we've got this faux window. Now it's just plastic. There's no glass or plastic here. You know, you can actually like reach through it, but it gives the impression that we've got a little like side panel. What do they call this? Like a panel window or something? I don't know. We've got some slat siding here and a faux, you know, an illustration of a plant. And then over here, we have this little light feature. Now, here's the deal with the lights. I'm gonna turn the light on. If you're curious to know, the light switch is just on the flip side right here. So I will flip the light and it comes on. Now, this is the color temperature of all the lights in the dollhouse, and it's not my favorite. It's very stark. It's very, you know, kind of industrial. It's just like boring, blah, white light. I would like something a little warmer, maybe something a little bit more inviting. So this is something I would like to do one day to this dollhouse, is to kind of upgrade it a little bit, because you can see we've got a light fixture here, which we'll get more into later. It lights the same way. It's not a very flattering, pretty light. So I would like to one day kind of come back and kind of like, you know, just, you know, create some mood lighting in this dollhouse. But out of the box, straight out of the box, it does have its own light. Now here we've got a doorbell. So obviously this dollhouse does take batteries, and it's got some electric moments in there, which are really cute. But we've got the blue door. We've got the little slot here for mail, which was a cute touch. And we've got this switch here, which I will be honest, I don't know what this does. So forgive me. But let's go on inside, shall we? Moving inside the house, let's close the door here. I'm gonna back up my camera just a smidge. There we go. Here is the front room. So yes, if we'd entered from where I showed you the porch, this is the first room you enter in the dollhouse. Now a little bit more. We got some electric features here. This is the switch that turns the light out there on and off, and then this actually locks the door and sets the alarm. So the house is secure. And I didn't even know that it did this. I was watching Mal's video, Dollies and Rainbows, and I guess if you kind of like, yep, there it goes. If you try to, that's too funny. Yeah, if you try to jiggle the door, try to break in, I guess, the alarm goes off. I had no idea it did that. But let's just unlock the door for now. And the dolls can just kind of come and go as they please. Down here, I have a little plant here. I got this from, I think, Target a while back. But we do have a little doggy door here, which is cute. We've got a little, now this is all just artwork that's just part of the wood flooring. This is just a little floor mat, says hello. And we come in here. One of the things I really love about this dollhouse was that they didn't leave it blank, you know? You're spending a ton of money on this dollhouse. It's kind of nice that the walls already have illustration to give it the impression that it's already furnished. You can obviously add your own furnishings as you'd like, but it's nice that you at least have, you know, something to start with. But here we've got an illustration of a window so you can kind of see outside. There's a lounger out there. I'm gonna move this random fish table. This was another like dollar store find, I think, or maybe I got it at Target, I don't know. But I thought it was funny and it scaled perfectly for American Girl. It doesn't really go with this, you know, this decor, but I just thought it was funny. So let's move that out of the way. This is the doll nightstand. I think it's called the Day to Nightstand that American Girl sold. I actually use it as a bit of an end table in here. Again, let's just move that out of the way for right now. And we can kind of focus on some of the illustrations that come with the dollhouse. So we've got this like console table here, a basket with a blanket here. I'm guessing this is probably like a big pillow. Books, a lamp, we got some artwork, we've got an ottoman with a pillow there. And now this is a piece I get a lot of questions on whenever I feature it on my photos on Instagram. And this is just this little fireplace. I always get questions, where did I get it? It came with the dollhouse. This is actually one of the few pieces of furniture that is included when you buy this. And what's really cute is it is another piece that takes batteries because, check it out, the dolls can have a little fire. So you get the crackling fire sound effect, a little lighting sound, a lighting effect as well. It's a cute piece. I do like that it's got a little bit of detail here. I don't know if it's reading on camera, but it's got a little bit of white brick texture here. But unfortunately, that's the only piece. Everything else is kind of flat. It's kind of very plasticky looking, which is unfortunate. But as you can see, I've kind of dressed it up with some of the books. This is like the Sarah Plain and Tall book. I think this came with Courtney's bed. I think it did. I don't remember. And then I've got Meet Molly and Molly's Surprise, which those were also pieces from Courtney's collection. This is a book I found. I found it at like a little novelty store. It's just a Cinderella book. So yeah, it's not American Girl, but it's scaled nicely. And then over here, I've got the Xbox games that came with the American Girl Xbox sets. I think they've released now 2 Xbox play sets, and I got both because if you didn't know, I'm also a big video game nerd. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna play video games, sorry, I'm struggling here with the, I figured if I'm gonna be, wow, okay, a lot of problems. If I'm gonna waste my hours of the day sitting in front of the video games, I guess my dolls can too. But what is nice though is that we've got these 2 little doors here. So there is, you know, more options for storage, which is cute. It's just unfortunate that this piece generally is kind of lame. You know, like I said, it's cool that it lights up. We've got this brick detail here, but everything else is pretty just like kind of plasticky. But it can be removed. You can put it wherever you'd like. And here we've got a shelf, kind of like that floating shelf look. We got some books and some florals. And then we've got a picture of an American Girl doll. I don't know which Truly Me it is. And forgive me, we're getting some glare from the, I'll move in there. You can kind of see her a little bit better. We're getting some glare from the lighting, but we can see she's doing some ballet. Oh, and if you were curious to know what the back of this looked like, It's not much, it's just, there it is. There's the speaker, and then there's where you'll put the battery in. I think the picture online, it always shows the fireplace just goes right here, and so it works for me. So now we'll move up here. We've got this lighting fixture, and I don't know if you've already noticed it, but I broke it. Yes, and unfortunately, it actually worked when I went to go pick it up, and the guy showed me like all the stuff, and I was like, oh, that's great. I did this. My clumsy hands, when I was putting it together, I like must have squished something against it and it just like cut the wire. And so now, unfortunately, this light doesn't light up. But here's the deal. It's just a simple wire. Like basically the wire was cut. So I do believe that's an easy fix. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. But if it did work, you would just flip this switch here and the light would come on. And unfortunately, like the light out on the porch, it's not a very attractive looking light. And so I would much rather, you know, just take this off one day and kind of put in my own light, something that gives a nice warm glow. Yeah. But that's this room. I have this here. This is one of the little frames. You can kind of change the picture out however you want, which is cute. The frames do open. Now, the person who had this, they used like, they didn't use command strips, but as you can see, I think it came with the dollhouse. They have these plastic squares that are Velcro that unfortunately, once you attach them to the walls, they don't come off. So I was like, oh well, just leave it there. It's not a big deal. But what's nice is that this is just a simple plastic frame, but it does open, and so you can change out the artwork however you'd like. I haven't done that yet, so one day I'm going to customize this a little bit more. I had to kill the camera. This is like really hard to open. But yes, as you can see, this is a plastic frame and you can open it up and then put in whatever artwork you'd like. I have yet to customize this fully the way I would like it. But that'll be another video for another day, right? Now, okay, now here is something hilarious. Another thing that I never even noticed until I was watching Dollies and Rainbows video, because she did a video similar to this where she did a virtual walkthrough of the house. I never even noticed this until she pointed it out. This, as you can see, is a doorway so the dolls can get through from the living room to the kitchen. Check this out. I've enlisted Logan here to help us out. Logan, go to the kitchen. Seriously? Like this opening, it is so small, the dolls can't even like properly go through it. I never even noticed that. And I've had this dollhouse for quite a while now. Like I said, I was watching Mal's video and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I immediately stopped. I paused her video and I came in here to see if mine was exactly the same. Like, why wouldn't it be? But I was like, oh man, that's kind of goofy, right? Because like over here, the door is fine. He can get through no problem. But yeah, I never noticed. This door is completely impractical for this dollhouse. It's so odd. I don't know why they did that. I mean, I'm guessing like obviously for reasons of construction and the build of this thing, they probably couldn't have it go up too high because then it wouldn't be as stable. But nonetheless, it is still kind of goofy, right? Oh well, it is what it is. So you guys, you and I, Logan, you're gonna stay there, but you guys, you and I will go on into the kitchen. Here we are. Yeah, Logan, I don't know, maybe he can go play some Xbox or something. But, sorry, I just had to do that little goofy moment. So yes, now we are in the kitchen and I have got it outfitted with the bistro tables and chairs because I like this table set a lot. I think this is so cute, but let's move it out of the way so we can get a closer look at the kitchen. Here it is. Again, as you can see, the back wall is actually outfitted with illustrations. So if you don't own the American Girl kitchen, they got you covered. You can at least play and pretend you have one. And I do like that. I mean, it's because it was the kitchen that was sold at the time when they made this dollhouse. It is that lavender kitchen. So not the one they're currently selling, the version before it, but it is the kitchen I prefer. And what's cute is you can see some things on there. So we've got like the lavender doors and drawers. We've got the birthday cake that was part of that celebration set. One thing that's up here, which is really nice, is that this, however, is not an illustration. This is an actual shelf that you can put stuff on. As you can see, I have put this, I think I got this at World Market. Yeah. little salad bowl I got. I just put that up there. I thought that looked cute. But it looks like we've got a dishwasher here. We've got a little basket of groceries there. Just really fun, whimsical. Oh yeah, if you're like the dogs, because remember we had that doggy door in the front room. Here we've got a little pet feeder where you've got a water dish, the dog food. It's on a little mat to keep everything clean. And what's really funny is this here is a real rug. Now I added this because when you remove it, they gave you a rug. There is an illustration of the rug, and I just think it's funny that it's the actual rug that they actually sold with the kitchen set. So and it's almost the same size, as you can see. So I just put my real rug over that just to give the little bit more dimension, a little bit more character to the space. Over here, we've got this little window set, and this is one of my favorite features of this dollhouse. So we've got these little pink little panels here, which here's my one of the gripes I have for this dollhouse. You'll see these a few times. These are just like kind of like rough wood, like curtain rods is what it's supposed to be. But not only is it like not painted, so it kind of gives it an unfinished look, but the wood is very, very rough. So it's hard to move the curtains both in here and upstairs in the bedroom, which you'll see. So, I mean, it's kind of nice because then you can kind of put the curtains, if you want to have them open, well, now they're not going to do it. I was going to say, because of the rough texture of this curtain rod, they usually stay bunched up. So they kind of stay where you want them, but it's hard if you wanted to have a dollhouse where the curtains could open and close with ease. Yeah, the rough wood kind of makes that difficult. But having said that, check out, let's move this out of the way. Check out these windows because aren't they cute? Look at this. You can actually open them. They open and close just like a real window would. When I saw that, I was like, that is so cute. I love it. And it's hard to tell because I've got the custom closet pushed up against here, but this is basically a big plastic piece that sandwiches with another plastic piece on the other side. And so that's how it clasps onto this wood panel here. When I picked this up from the guy who sold it to me, he had randomly 2 extra of these windows. So I have 2 of these sitting in my garage that I can use for a different little, if I want to create another set, and I can still have these windows that will actually have the function of opening and closing. So I'm very excited about that. But aren't these adorable? I love it. Well, that wraps up the first floor of this dollhouse. Sorry, Logan has passed out here. But that is the first floor of the dollhouse. So with that, I think it's time to head on upstairs. So here we are in the bedroom. Now this dollhouse only has 1 bedroom, which kind of makes sense. You are limited when you're making a dollhouse. But this is it. And as you can see, again, same thing. We've got some illustrations on the walls, so it gives you the impression that you have a little desk or vanity here. You've got the little cushioned stool chair. And then we've got more of these guys. These are those plastic frames where you can pop them open and, change out the artwork however you see fit. Now, this here is a mirror, and this image here is something I printed out because this mirror is actually a piece of like reflective, material. And so it would drive me nuts that you would either see me in the background if I was filming, or it would create this really ugly glare from my studio lights that I use. So I was like, I'm just gonna create a faux, reflection here and use that to kind of, fill that space. So yeah, this is essentially a customized mirror, but this is the frame that came with the dollhouse. Now, another customization I did was this window, in that this is actually just a cutout. This is just an opening for the dollhouse. So as you can see, I have put a beach background. I put these little slats here to kind of give it the impression that it's a window. If I hadn't done that, you would just be seeing the back wall of my room, and that was boring and didn't light very well. So I created a custom background and I placed this house along, the Malibu beach. Why not? If I can't be there, at least my dolls can. And then here we've got, this unfortunate curtain rod. Again, it is just some rough wood, but it does keep the panels open, which is nice. I just wish it was painted. Maybe one day I will paint that. And then we've got these cute blue sparkly panels. And like I said, when I got this home, these kind of had a weird odor. They were a little musty, so I just took them to my dry cleaner. They didn't charge me much, and they came out good as new. And like I said, I actually think they look more vibrant and more sparkly as well. The floor, as you can see, it's got this wood pattern here, and then they've thrown this little rug here, and then here we've got this little open bookcase, which they filled with books and plants, and I'm guessing these aren't real animals, these are probably their stuffies. And then I added this. This came from Kavi's backstage set, because I just thought it was cute, and I just wanted to add a little bit more whimsy to the room. And then up here you will notice a customization I did. Like the window, this is actually just supposed to be just an empty cutout, and I hated the way it looked when I would take photos. I wanted this blue wall to extend all the way up. This was the best color I could find when it came to matching this. Plus, this is a thick cardboard. I wanted something sturdy. And so I actually just cut it down. You can kind of see I cut it so that it would go along with this roof line here. And I just mounted it to the back of the dollhouse. Now, unfortunately, because I have done that, it does render the ceiling fan useless. If I were to push this button, this would illuminate and the fan blades would rotate. Because I now have this backing here, it won't do that. But I'm okay with that. That is totally fine with me because I rarely use this in any of my videos, my movies, or anything. As long as I have it so it's there for the aesthetic, I'm cool with it. But I would much rather have this ugly opening filled because, like I said, otherwise you just see my wall. And I think this looks more aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. Now over here, as you can see, here is the door. This is the custom closet. Now, I am going to save this for later considering it is not actually a part of the dollhouse. It is an addition, as I mentioned, so we will come back to this. Moving on over here from the bedroom, we have got the shower and, or rather the bathroom, I should say. Now this is cute because I love the design. I love they've given us this like rounded piece here just to give it some interest, some visual interest, something different. So not everything is just, you know, perpendicular, a flat, clean line. It's nice to have a little bit more character here. And what's really cute is they also have these little hooks that can rotate. Now, I have to do this one-handed, sorry. I had to get the camera there for a second, but I just opened this little piece here. It's Velcroed together, but we've got this little panel, and if you're very careful, you can move these pieces so you can actually cover. They don't move super easy, but I think you guys get the idea, right? You can close the bathroom off so, you know, your dolls can have a little bit of privacy. Man, you gotta have a lot of patience though to get this closed. But you get the idea, right? I thought that was a cute little touch. I'm gonna go ahead and close that. Again, this was another one of the fabric panels that kind of smelled a little goofy. I took them to the dry cleaners. They came out better than new. Okay, replacing the panel back. Now here we've got this little shower, and this is super adorable because they've given us this little plexiglass door to give obviously the impression of a glass door. We've got this little towel rod here. Usually I have a towel. I don't know where my towel went, but usually I have a towel hanging over here. But we can open this on up, and inside we have the shower. Now here we've got, obviously these are just illustrations, but we've got a little floating shelf here with some sundries and toiletries like shampoo, body wash, and the likes. We've got an illustration of a little stool here. And one thing that's cute is they've given us this little plastic floor here that kind of looks like, you know, a shower tray. Just give it a little detail. I like that. And then of course here we have another one of our, I almost just grabbed this like this was a real stool. My imagination is starting to kick in when I'm playing in this dollhouse. But this shower head here is another piece that is linked to the battery system. So if we push the button, oh, I think it, no, I'm sorry. So if we move the dial, the shower head illuminates blue and you get the sound effect of, you know, rainfall, the shower head raining down on you. Another thing that's cute is that this little piece is removable, so you've got the little handheld shower. So if your dolls want to come in here and just have a fun spa day, they can do that. I think that was a cute little touch. I like that a lot. Didn't seem like the shower stayed on for very long. Oh, okay. They're saving water around here. It's a quick shower. Over here, we have got the vanity. So we've got, again, this is all just illustration. There's nothing real in here. But I think it's a really cute design. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the illustrations you'd see in a Rainbow High dollhouse, and the fact that they look very high end. I love this, like, you know, black the black cabinetry with the gold pulls, and what I'm guessing this is supposed to be like a marble countertop. Now, the person put the Velcro thing here. I don't know if there was supposed to be something there or not. I just left it there because I think if I try to remove that, it's gonna rip the paint off, and I'm not quite ready to like upgrade this area myself. But so yeah, we've got this like random piece of Velcro just hanging there. But in here, we also have another one of these cute little windows. As you can see, it too goes up and down, which I love. But yeah, just a cute little space, a cute little bathroom, place where the dolls can like, you know, do their hair, get ready for the day. It's adorable. And again, oh yeah, and then we got another panel here. So the idea being you'd use the two panels to completely close this off. I just love it. Moving on down, we are almost near the end. Here we have the outside area. And as you can see, we have a swimming pool and we have this little outdoor patio. Now I'm gonna be talking about this for a little bit, but one thing that is very cute is they've included these little stairs here. So if they're coming out of the bathroom, they can come in here and just jump right in the pool. Now, this is also a battery operated feature. Oh, by the way, just to give you some context, if you didn't know, this pool and this patio is situated just above the little driveway here. So, but back to the pool, if we push this button, how cute is that? We get some illumination effects. We get some sound effects of like, kind of like, sounds like a hot tub going. You can hear the bubbles. But it's nice and deep, so you can definitely get a couple dolls in there for, you know, a little pool day. Let's press it again. A fun little touch, a fun feature. One thing that's interesting I should note also is that this is removable. You can actually take this out and put this anywhere. So if you, oh, sorry. So if you don't want to, if you want to take this, I mean, I guess anywhere. You can tell they don't actually expect you to fill it up with water because American Girl dolls are not meant to go in the water, but they've also included holes in here. So if you tried to fill it up with water, it would just leak out. So I guess that was a good idea on their part. But yeah, you can take that out, but it just fits right there. Now over here on the patio, this is one of my favorite spaces because this is a place where I kind of upgraded it myself because I had to. As I mentioned, I believe when you buy this, it comes with little clips and a little string of lights that comes included with this house, and the guy couldn't find it. Now we can see there is illustration of some, what do they call them, like popcorn lights, or is that what they're called? Popcorn lights? I don't know. Patio lights, whatever. And so I was like, well, I really want that effect. You guys, I found these at Target for like, I don't know, $8 or something. They weren't super expensive and they were scaled perfectly for this. I actually prefer the look of these versus the ones that actually come with this dollhouse. I just think they have a little bit more character, a little bit more visual interest. I think it's really cute. I'm really proud of myself for doing that. Now this was simple because this was just a string of lights. And as you can see over here, the battery pack is hanging. What I would like to do eventually is, because these little basket pieces, those pop right off. I want to get a small string of lights that can actually be plugged into the wall. And I'll talk about that in a bit, but I'd like to be able to flip a switch and all my lights come on. Right now I have all these battery packs that I have to fuss over. But yeah, it would be pretty easy to just find a small string of lights that I can pop these little baskets on and then have that cord just coming over here into my hot switch. Like I said, I can flip a switch and all the lights come on. But until then, we are running off a battery pack, which is kind of annoying. But over here, we've got, so here is the bathroom window. You can see, again, it kind of goes up and down. It goes up and down, which is super cute. We have got some pebble work, some faux pebble work down here. And I'm guessing this is supposed to be like an outdoor rug. And I have outfitted this with the little grill. I believe this is the grill that came with Joss's collection because, if you're gonna come out here for a pool party, let's get some hot dogs, let's get some burgers going. That's awesome. I busted out my step stool so I could get a closer look. Now over here, we've got another one of these shelves where it's an actual shelf. So you can put stuff on there. I love when they do that. I could put like a little bowl of popcorn or what have you, anything there. Now this This is the only part that doesn't really function for me. Well, I guess the fan didn't function. The fan in the bedroom didn't function either. But because I have this dollhouse pushed so close up against the wall, I can't rotate this. But this is supposed to rotate, as you can see. And on this side here, we've got a TV. And on the other side, I believe it's solar panels, if I'm correct. I think that's what it was. And so I was like, oh, well, I'd rather have the TV so I can have an image of the dolls. And I love it because this image here is from one of the American Girl videos, and this is almost exactly the same time of when I started getting into American Girl. And I was watching AG Tube, I was watching their YouTube channel, and I remember this little dude here. That was my first introduction to Truly Me 76, who would eventually come to the doll world and become Chip, my very favorite doll ever. And so I love that it's this picture with this gang because this is the gang I kind of started my AG journey with. Now moving on up here, we've got this platform and it's supposed to be kind of like this top patio. Now you are limited in space, but I put the new set of tables and chairs. Honestly, I put them here because I just needed a place to put them. I was like, where am I going to put this? I'm running out of room up here. I'm running out of room in my doll space. So I was like, oh, I'll just throw them here. And it actually worked out pretty nicely. I'm going to remove this here so you can see a little bit of the detail that's going on with the dollhouse itself because I actually really love this feature. I love that they've given us this little, this iron railing. I'm guessing it's supposed, this is wood, this is plastic, but it kind of gives you the impression they've got this really nice, beautiful railing here. Now we also have it again over here. You can kind of see it behind the grill. I just love that. I love all the little details, all the little variations. So not everything is so flat, so bland. But yeah, we've got a little bit of a pebble floor here. And then we've got some house siding with a little plant hanging down here. And of course, as you can see, I've got my own yucky lighting because it's just taped down. These are just little fairy lights I had, and I just taped them down with some masking tape. It's not the most attractive looking thing, but like I said, I'm not expecting everyone to kind of just get in here and look at all these like rough edges and bad details. When we stand back a little farther and it's just my background, it looks really pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this patio back up. And there you have it, guys. The American Girl KidKraft Luxury Dollhouse, outfitted with just a little bit of lights, a little bit more detail, and a few pieces of furniture. But that's how I like it. That's how I have it set up. I just absolutely love this set. I think it's visually interesting. It's beautiful. It's functional. Even if you're not going to use it as like a dollhouse and I want to play with my dolls in it, it makes for a great display case. I have over here, as you've probably seen, I have this Billy bookcase from IKEA, which I have a love-hate relationship with. I much prefer to have my dolls on display behind me on this thing. I just think it's more beautiful. It's nice that these have doors so they don't get as dusty, but I move my stuff around so much. I don't think I have, dust doesn't have too much time to settle, but I'm getting off topic. I just think this is a gorgeous dollhouse. If you have your eye on it, if you have any kind of inkling of getting it and, you can afford the price and the space, I say go for it. All right, so I've saved this piece here for last. This is the custom closet because it's not my favorite piece, if I'm being completely honest. I was very excited about getting it. I thought it was gonna make just an insane, just a beautiful addition to my dollhouse. Honestly, I could take it or leave it. If you don't have it, don't kill yourself to get it because it's okay. It's not my favorite. But, so we're just gonna take a quick look. Now, the idea is that you're supposed to put the custom closet up against the dollhouse right here. As you can see, it's kind of cut out here in the bedroom, and this can work as a door. But when you open the door, like I said, it doesn't line up very well, and I don't wanna pull too hard, but it completely drags across the floor. Like it's totally gonna mess up your floor over time. Yeah, and and here's the deal. I have this set on a work table. This is super flat, good solid wood, and it's got a metal frame. It is, I put a level on here. This thing is solid, it is level, and yet still we get this weird issue where it doesn't line up very good. So that was very disappointing when I did that. I really thought for the price point you're paying, and it's American Girl and KidKraft, this thing was gonna slide in and it was just gonna be, you know, it was gonna attach like a dream. And unfortunately, that is just not the case. Here we've got this sliding, you know, faux glass door. And inside you've got basically, oh, you spin this thing and it rotates that clothing rack. And so they're supposed to have like, you know, kind of like a, you know, a super fancy closet where they can just go through and choose their outfits. Now, as you're probably already seeing, I've only got 2 dresses on that thing and it's already having a difficult time moving around. So you can't really load this up with too many outfits or fashions hanging on those, hanging from here because it's not going to spin right. So again, another reason why I was like, this set is like, okay. Here was another reason that I kind of got bummed out. When you hit this button, it's supposed to illuminate and it was 100% working just fine. And then as soon as I brought this piece in here and put it next to the dollhouse, it stopped working. So I was like, oh, cool, that's awesome. And honestly, I just wasn't in love with this set, so I really didn't care. I was like, whatever. So, but as you can see, they've got some cute artwork and illustration in there, but it's so dark and like there's really no good way to get like your camera in there. So if you were looking to get this piece for Instagram photos or anything, I would think long and hard about it. But anyways, I'm going to close this door here. I'm going to be very careful with it so it doesn't scratch up my floor of the dollhouse. And I'm going to close this here. Now moving on down here to this first floor, here we've got kind of like the clothing area where they can like display hats and shoes or anything like that. We've got these 3 rotating tiers here. Now, for whatever reason, these don't rotate by one of these things like this closet does. You just have to do it by hand, which I was kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. But as you can see, we've got this little clothing rack. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job of showing this piece just because it's just not my favorite. But we've got this little clothing rack. I currently have Barbie's Day to Night fashion here. We've got 2 little shelves right here that you can put something on. And the floor is cute. I do like the floor. But this does open up. This has, you can see the hinges right there. This does open up that way, but I can't because I've got this shelving unit right here. So, you know, this does have potential to expand even greater, even longer, but I just don't give this piece too much attention because it's just kind of like, meh, it's not my favorite. Hold up, I almost forgot the staircase. Now, some of you may have noticed right when I pulled back, or if you've noticed in any of my previous videos, where's the staircase? There's supposed to be this grand staircase for the dollhouse. Here it is. And as you can see, my space is so limited, I just had no place for it. And this is another piece that, you know, I want to say I have a love-hate relationship, but unfortunately, in my opinion, there is so much more wrong with this piece than it has, you know, going for it. Now, I do have to give American Girl and KidKraft props because this is a very large staircase. And what's cool is that they made it so that there are 2 different places where you can put this on your dollhouse if you have the custom closet. Oh, real quick, by the way, this comes with the custom closet. So this does not come with the dollhouse. It is sold separately as part of the custom closet, but it does have the feature that you can actually put the staircase right over here. Now, as you can see, it's going to extend the length of the dollhouse considerably. But when I've seen images online of it, it looks adorable. I think it is so cute. That is where I would have loved to have put this staircase, but you can see with your own eyes, it's just not possible. So if you don't put it there, you can also put it here. But as you can see, again, I'm limited when it comes to space because my table cuts off right here. But like I said, I do have to give them props because it is very big. So I'm glad that they gave us the option. You know, they gave us 2 different places where we could put this. Unfortunately, neither of them work in my case. But I do kind of want to take a deep dive on this because I think this is a really cute piece. It works great for photos. You can do like, you know, I still got Logan over here. You know, you can create a cute little you know, a Romeo and Juliet sequence maybe. I don't know. Maybe he's going upstairs to a fancy restaurant. Doesn't have to be a house. I just love a really nice, pretty, grand staircase. I really do. But one thing you may have noticed is that though this is wood, this is not. This is like this weird papery plastic material. And as you can see, it screws in right here. And then it kind of bows out right there because it's not wood, it's not plastic. It's this weird, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a papery kind of product. Making this thing, oh, see, like it does that, you know? This is very difficult to just pick up and move around. It's like, it's got no good place for me to grab whenever I'm moving this out of the way. It's just kind of a weird material that this is made of, you know? And see, like I played with it so much, now it's like popped in. I need to pop that back out. But down here, they've given us this little bench. And what's cute is they did give us, it's just a little plastic piece here, but they did give us this blue little cushion that kind of just like bands around it so it stays put. That was a nice little detail. We've got the staircase themselves. These are made of plastic, and this one's just kind of flopping around because, as I mentioned, it's supposed to attach either there or there, but it's just kind of flopping around for me right now. And then the other thing I have a little bit of issue with, I love that they've given us some storage space, right? They've got these 3 little drawers where you can put little outfits, accessories, shoes, what have you. And they're actually pretty spacious, I do have to say. I love the little detail on them. This is obviously just a molded piece of plastic, but it gives you the impression that we've got some tuffeting here, some fabric. But here's the deal. First of all, they're very hard to slide in and out, especially as I'm doing this one-handed because I got the camera in the other hand. Let me try to put that in there. But check it out. They don't like slide in flush. Like, it's kind of weird that they only go in so far, and then you can see like the screws and stuff. Like, it's just not, visually, it's not the prettiest looking thing. Okay, I just cut so I could put my camera down so I could push these in all the way. This is as far as they go in. It looks kind of weird, right? It looks like they're sticking out too far. Every time I approach this, I always want to like push them in more. And then it's like, oh, right, no, that's as far as they go in. So they just give you this like weird visual of always being kind of like pulled out a little bit. I don't know. I get it. I'm nitpicking. I'm griping over something that generally, visually is really cute. But yeah, I just have a lot of issues with this staircase piece. Wow, this sucks. I'm ending on a bad note. Sorry, guys. Let's end on a positive. We got the house back. You can see it in all its glory. I guess I was just super disappointed because I have to admit, I was thinking as I mentioned, the staircase came with the custom closet. I was more excited for that staircase, like when it came to like creating a really pretty visual for a movie or photo, than I was the actual closet itself. So it was super disappointing when I got here and I was like, oh, there's just no way I can make this work, this staircase. So I do keep it off to the side. Like I said, I have to move it around and it's hard to like pick it up. There's like no good way to grab it. So, oh well. But if it wasn't clear enough, I absolutely love this dollhouse. I can't rave about it enough. Like I said, if you're on the fence, if you're thinking of getting it, I say go for it because I get a lot of use out of it. I have a lot of fun with it. It makes for great backdrops. I love it. I have been thinking, especially now that we've got this video done, you guys got to see a little bit of a walkthrough. Now I have a little bit more of a fire under me when it comes to, I was kind of thinking, you know, obviously at some point I'm going to get through all these unboxings and there will be moments, there will be times when there's really nothing new to look at. There's nothing new to unbox or so forth. I was thinking it would be fun to maybe have those videos, especially as like holidays come. Maybe we can do a video where we decorate the dollhouse. Maybe we'll decorate it for 4th of July, Halloween, Christmas. I don't know. I think that would be fun. Something I wanted to do last year, but the channel was moving into a different direction and I wasn't able to do it right then and there. But I think maybe going forward, we'll have some more fun with the house. Well, you guys, with that, I think I'm gonna wrap this video here. I think I showed you everything. You got to see it all. Thank you once again for spending time with me. I have so much fun making these videos, and once they're live, I love hearing from all of you and your thoughts. And thank you for the suggestions. This is gonna be a new series, viewer suggested videos. I love it. If you wouldn't mind, I would love it if you would take the time to subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Ring the bell to be notified every time I upload. Give this video a like while you're at it. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time in the doll world.